Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
I always get so excited anytime we have somebody who has any psychic ability, is a medium, can channel, and anybody who's got any intuition, like really truly can home in on that intuition. I get excited. I found somebody and she can bring messages. We're going to learn more about this right now. Shelley Bates is on the program with us. Hi, Shelley. How are you?
Hi, how are you, Steve?
I'm well. I'm well. What would you say if you had, and I don't love titles, but if you gave yourself a title, what would it be?
I'm a psychic medium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And I think a lot of people get confused between what a psychic is, what a medium is. Is there a big difference between it?
Psychic, I believe that we all do have psychic abilities. It's just whether we tap into them. The mediumship is connecting with spirit, and some people do that on a different level as well. But for me, I do both, and so I'm grateful. But there's lots of talented people out there.
Are you one of those people that if you meet somebody, you're getting something, you might have a message to deliver, but you don't know them? Like if you're in the grocery store, you're not going to walk by, hey, by the way, I want to let you know. Does it kind of feel that way to you sometimes?
Yes.
When yeah?
Yeah, it does. At one point it wasn't. This is my 10th year, but probably into about my 9th year. Everywhere I go, but I try to be respectful and do realize that not everybody's open to it. So
yeah. How did it all start for you? And we're going to get into the process and spirit guides and all of that in just a moment. But when did you realize that you had some kind of ability?
I do believe I did as a child, maybe tapped in, tapped out. I do remember being quite intrigued with heaven from the time I was 8 years old, because my dad had a friend that passed, and I remember him saying that his friend had passed, and I said, well, where did he go? And he goes, well, he went to heaven. And I says, well, where's heaven? I was so intrigued. Where's heaven? Like, you can't explain it to me, so where is it? And I was always intrigued with mediums and psychics and all that stuff for years. And then I guess, I think I was maybe tapping in, but I didn't really realize it because it was called life, too busy.
Yep. Yeah. Can you shut it off?
No.
Wow. But it's not 24/7, or is it?
Yes, for me it is. But I'm grateful. It's just part of my life. I do it every day and I love it. And I love helping people. And so for me, it's a normal now. So it's okay.
I'm just going to throw it out there before we continue. Use me as a guinea pig, test subject. If you get anything on me, I'm fully transparent. Throw it at me.
Okay.
Whatever comes your way. Whatever comes your way.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'm just wondering, do you have anybody in the spirit that you want to? I'll explain how I read, so that helps a little bit.
For sure.
So for me, I connect with people that have passed by first name only, people that are here by first name only, animals that are here by first name only, animals that have passed by first name only. Career, relationships, body scans. I am not a doctor or nurse, but I hear the physical body of people and animals. And I also hear the dream state. So the angels explain what dreams mean and how what they're all about. So when I'm talking to somebody, sometimes people want to talk to Pacific people. And yes, everybody's there, and they'll probably be popping through as well. But that's how I channel. I channel by name.
Do you want me to ask you
Yes.
Okay. What's mom up to?
Your mom is in spirit?
Yeah.
Okay. Remember, because I read both, sometimes it's hard for me to tell if they're here or past, so I will ask you that. So what's your mom's name?
Rose or Rosemary.
Rosemary. So everybody knew her as Rosemary?
Okay. Both, but yeah, probably a little bit more Rosemary.
Okay. The first thing I'm feeling with your mom is that she wasn't that old when she passed. She seemed young to me. Did she have a young way of thinking?
Yeah.
Because I don't feel she's that old.
Yeah, she was up there in age, but she is pretty feisty in the way she looked at things. Yeah.
Absolutely. And can I ask, do you see the spirit? Do you notice how she's leaving messages for you? Do you know the messages she's leaving for you?
All the time.
Because she's going to me like this.
Oh,
Okay.
I could go on for an hour about the messages, and I could
Yeah.
even give you examples. And I'm sure some of them I try to
Yes.
figure out. They're from her, but
Yeah.
there's things connected to them that I haven't figured out sometimes, or they are slam dunk, crystal clear messages or signals. And usually when I ask for them, I get them.
Absolutely. And another thing for the listeners that this might help is if people come through in the, people in spirit come through in the dream state with you, then that's awesome. To me, that's a gift in itself. But if you find that you're not sure how they're connecting, ask them to give you specific messages, and that way they can tune in easier, because sometimes it's hard when you say to somebody and your loved ones in spirit, can you just leave me a message, and they go to me, well, what kind of messages do you want? So yeah, ask them to come through in those birds or dimes or whatever, and flip them over. There could be a year or symbol or stuff on them. Now, can I ask, his dad passed over as well?
Yes.
Because he's saying hello to you too, because he said hi. And then dad's dad, did you know him?
No.
Okay, he's sure proud of you.
He's what?
He's sure proud of you. Told me to tell you how proud he
Thank
is
you.
of you.
I've been tracing back slowly, trying to learn a little bit more.
Okay, because are you trying to learn more about where he's, like, who he was and everything about him?
And family in general. And there's some recent revelations uh I've
Yeah.
discovered.
Okay, and he's just telling me to tell you, if I don't know if you've asked him, but he wants to be a help with any of that if he can too. So help you with any of that guidance. But he's
Okay.
telling me, I'm so proud of you. He keeps telling me that. Now, can I ask, like, you have your mom, your dad, do you have siblings? Because I feel like there's more brothers and sisters with you.
Yes.
And he said to say hi to them. So they're all living.
Hmm.
And is there a birthday for one of you guys coming up soon? Because I always hear things 1 month back, 4 months ahead. Is there a birthday coming up for your parents or you? Because I always hear the birthdays in that sequence.
Just passed, and that would be, I don't want to give you too much info.
No, no, that's okay.
uh just passed. And
Okay.
that, yeah.
Was that your birthday?
Yes.
Okay, just wishing you a happy birthday. Okay.
Cool.
And acknowledging that. And can I ask, do you have some pets in spirit as well from when you were a child, like when you were younger? Because they're talking about pets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, they're saying hello to you. I won't spend a lot of time with that. We could have a complete conversation with them, but they're letting me know that that there's, from time to time they cross your mind, and they're
Mm.
acknowledging that as well. Now, can I ask, the anniversary? Is there an anniversary of a death coming up as well? Or I always hear things 1 month back, 4 months ahead. When did your parents pass? Like in this time zone, or are you having an anniversary with your relationship? Like, did you get together at a certain time of year, like, because they're talking about anniversary?
Um, hmm. I don't I don't see an anniversary that's significant coming up.
Okay.
I could be missing it. I'm thinking about it, you know.
No, that's fine, because there is some anniversary. There's and I'm not sure when your grandfather passed. Do you know?
No. And my parents got divorced when I was younger.
Yeah.
Um, I was actually going to check and see when they got married. I was
Okay.
curious, and I don't know. Maybe that's the anniversary.
I think that could be
I
within that
think you're
time zone.
I think you're right.
Yeah, check it out, because it could be 1 month back, 4 months ahead. So they're acknowledging that as well. And I'm also hearing that they're telling me to tell you that your dad's telling me to tell you that, did you get a proper goodbye with both of these, your mom and your dad? Did one you not get a proper goodbye with?
Both of them, no.
Okay, because they're acknowledging that, and they just told me to tell you that they heard you, but they couldn't, that they're just letting me know that you didn't get that proper goodbye. And they said rather say see you later than say goodbye. They don't like that
Mm,
whole goodbye thing, but
yeah,
they're letting me know that as well. Okay. Now, can I ask your sister? You have a sister?
I do.
Can I ask if she, was there something wonderful happening in her world? Did she give you some good news of some sort?
Um,
Or is there
n-
something coming up?
Not necessarily, but to to ride on your point, we had a wonderful time together because we're twins. So we were,
Oh,
and we were together last Friday. We saw a concert together, and we don't get a chance to get together that often. So maybe that's the more positive
that's
vibe
what
that
it
you're
is.
getting.
That's probably saying,
Yeah,
I'm wishing you a happy birthday, but what about your sister? So acknowledging, didn't want
yeah.
to forget the sister. And I'm glad that you two had a wonderful day, acknowledging that as
Thank you.
well. Yes.
Hmm.
And can I ask, you have, how many pets do you have at home?
I have three.
Okay. Pretty spoiled too, by the way, but that's nice. Can
They
I
are.
ask, is one getting older? Do you have one that's a bit older?
Not significantly older. Two are very within the year and change, and one is, I would say he's probably 6 and change,
Okay.
somewhere in
So
that.
just, okay, just
But
a little bit
you know,
older.
uh, my ex has some of the other pets, and
Ah.
they're up there in age.
Okay, that's why, because they're telling me when their time comes to pass, they will be there for them. So they're just
Mm,
acknowledging that, even though I'm not saying they're passing, I'm
right.
just letting you know that they're aware that they're getting a bit older and stuff. Okay. Did you want me to ask, do you want to ask me something with your mom and dad? Is there anything you want me to ask?
Um, I want to share something with you, if I may.
Sure.
And basically it's to illustrate the signs.
Yes.
The first one I got from my mom was probably the first big one, um, a year and a half after she passed, somewhere around there. And I was going to a big meeting, could be life changing. And I said, and the night before I was just sending messages out, Mom, just, show me it's going to be okay. Give me a sign. Give me a sign. And that
Yeah.
morning, it's like 9:20 in the morning. I'm pulling into a parking lot. I'm like, Mom, thinking about you. Could use you right now. Just let me know it's going to be okay. And a minute later, I look down in my console of my car and I see the top of an energy drink that I was drinking. And it was her birthday on the expiration date.
Oh,
You
beautiful.
can't make that up.
No.
You know, you could be skeptical and say, and I'm bringing this up because we talk about looking for the signs. You could be
Yes.
skeptical and say, "Whoa, 1 in 365 chance." Okay, I'll give you that. But
Yes.
I was asking for it at that time. Very, and by the way, the event turned out to be okay. Everything was fantastic. It was like her reassurance. But my friend said to me, "Hey, that's cool." He goes, "But what are the chances that you were looking down at that moment and actually saw it?" He goes, "That's the game changer. Who looks at the expiration date,
Nobody
especially
does.
at that moment?" So for me, that was my gotcha, mom. And in the last couple of weeks, I, randomly threw out, I got some stuff going on. Everything all right? Can you just reassure me you're there? Just
Yeah.
show me. It's been a while. So I get a new router from the cable company in my office, and they assign a password to it. It's randomly generated. Flip it over so I can get the password, and it's 4 numbers dash Rose, her name, dash 2 numbers.
Yeah.
Um, you want to punch a hole in that? If anybody's skeptical, go right ahead. I choose to believe it's her name. And at that moment, I got it. The numbers surrounding it, I haven't figured that out yet. I've been playing with them, moving them around, trying to, read into it, if you will. Because I truly believe she's trying to tell me something with the numbers. Yes, I played them in lottery, didn't win. But I don't know what the reason they're there for, but I'm still working on that. But my point here is that as you said before, ask, you'll get it. You got to look for it. You got to be open to it to get the
Be
signs.
open to it.
Yeah,
Can I share something with you? It
please.
happened to me actually last week. My cousin was here doing a reading, and we walked outside, and my aunt comes back as a hummingbird, and my dad comes back as a crow. We both know that. It's always been known as that. So we're standing out in the yard before she's leaving, and there's a crow standing right on the post. And I said, "Hey, that's my dad." I said, "You better say hi to Uncle Mervyn." So he's going squawk, squawk. And then she turns
Wow.
around and she says, "How you doing?" He says, "Squawk, squawk." And then she turns around and a hummingbird almost hit her in the head. And I was like, "Tell me they're not here."
So okay. So anybody, look at a skeptic, what they're going to say, but what are the
Yes.
chances at that moment you have a crow and a hummingbird showing up? I don't know about
Yes.
you. I haven't seen a hummingbird in a couple of years at least. So
Well, I haven't even seen a hummingbird in our backyard. I have no hummingbird feeders and I have no flowers around the yard. So yeah, I was like, even though I see the messages all the time and I connect with my family all the time, it was like, thanks, Dad, needed that about now, you know? So
yeah.
yeah.
When you talk about spirit guides, who are the guides that deliver the messages? Do you get the messages directly from somebody who's passed over, or do you get them from these spirit guides?
Well, I definitely have my guides and your guides. And for me, when I'm actually doing a session, to be honest with you, your dad would be talking to me through me, and I basically tell you everything he's saying in a session. So I direct connect with him and your mom and that level. So it's almost like they're just talking to me, sitting beside me, and I'm just repeating everything in my head. So, and they fill
Wow.
in all the blanks. And so normally when somebody writes down all the questions for me, how it works is I ask who they want to connect with. And I have a lot of first time callers. So what'll happen is they'll say, well, I'm really nervous. And I'll say, that's okay. They'll do all the talking. And they do. They fill in all the blanks. And then you can say, do you have any questions? And they'll be like, well, you answered all those questions. Let me think about something. So it's beautiful because I'm very grateful and blessed that I can just pass on those messages to the loved ones and help people. So I do lots of it. I do it every day for 10 years. So I love talking to people in the spirit. They're such been great teachers too, and people here as well. So I do believe we all have different teachers at different times when we need them. And so there's too many to thank at this
Hmm.
time. Yeah.
Can you name the spirit guides? Because I've heard some people can say, oh, that's Archangel Michael, or this is that, or
Yes.
does it change?
It does change for me. It does anyway. And I mean, depending on who I'm reading, maybe they've been praying to Archangel Michael, and he will come through and say, "You've been praying to me, and I'm doing, I'm working with you." Or their guides will come through and say, "You've been asking me." They'll tell me ahead of time that you asked for me, and I've been there working with you. So the people in spirit and the people that have passed on, and so yes, and even the pets. Surprisingly enough, I do believe that the pets will leave you messages. You can just be specific about how you want them to leave messages after they passed. Animals have done that. I work with the tame ones and the wild animals, and they do want to communicate as well, right? From the fish, I've read fish to
Wow.
lizards to I'm going to be reading the buffalo here next week. So yeah, that they're just they're very unique and in their own way, all of them, right? So I love animals.
Any specific messages from my mom and dad? Anything coming through? And I know it's never any guarantees. You,
Oh
you,
yeah,
you never
no,
know.
that's fine. So you said Rose, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can I ask, where's your mom resting? Like she says cemetery. So she's at the cemetery?
Nope. She was cremated.
Okay, that's fine. So she's at home?
Yeah. Yep.
Because she said home to me. When they say home, is kind of confusing because home could mean cemetery and home. And can I ask where she's resting? Is there her picture and everything out? Does she have everything sitting beside her? Like, is there something beside her with the cremation? Like
Yeah.
yeah. And then she says to me, I feel like somebody either wears something of hers or has something of hers. And of course, you all have something. I get that. But there could be something personal, like something she's wearing. Somebody might be wearing a ring or something that keeps something personal of hers. And she also tells me about you talk to me in your mind all the time. I hear everything you're saying to me, and she's acknowledging that as well. And can I just say that your mom's a lovely lady. She really truly is. I just want to give her a big hug. That's how I'm feeling about your mom.
She was kind of that way. Yeah.
Now, can I ask, is there any babies? When she says the word baby to me, it's hard to tell if they're here or past, but she acknowledges a baby. So can you tell me about the baby?
I don't know where to go with that.
Do you have any brothers or sisters that passed?
No.
Okay. Any children?
Yes, I have two daughters and a son.
Okay. And are they
Hmm.
they passed over?
No.
Okay. Can I ask your brothers and sisters, so is there anybody having a baby then? Because when I hear baby, why do
No,
I hear the word baby?
I don't know. There's, I can bring something to light, but it's not really connected to my mom.
Okay, can
Um,
you bring that? Can you bring that to me, please?
Recent revelation when I said I was tracing my family history, I
Yes.
found out right around the same time that the password with my mom's name. So I don't know if that's a signal for
Yes.
what I'm about to tell you.
Yes.
I found out that I have a half sister I never knew I had. This is just
Yes.
a couple of weeks ago,
And that's
and
100% yes.
that's on my. We share the same dad,
Yeah.
so I don't
And
know
so
if.
there's, yes, that's it. She's acknowledging that and saying yes to me. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah. And I'm still trying to figure out those numbers because it was right around that time that I found that out that, I got that password with their name and those numbers. I don't know what they mean. Um, but
I
yeah,
feel like I feel like you're gonna figure out those numbers too.
I think I am too. And the first four numbers, if I were to subtract seven, if I subtract seven from those numbers, if you break them apart, so you have four numbers, two and two, if I subtract seven from the first two numbers is my age 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And the second set of two numbers, if I subtract seven from the age she was when she passed, if you subtract seven, it's that number.
Yeah.
So, and if you start adding some of the numbers up, they either come up to 11 or seven. Like the last two numbers is 5, 2, that comes out to seven. If you take some of the other numbers, it seems like combinations of 7 and 11. Don't know what it means. uh,
I feel like you're gonna figure that out. I think it's gonna come to you. Recently I just actually started doing that too. People, you know how we have all those pictures, maybe not everybody, but you have those pictures that they don't have the last name on them. You're kind of guessing who they are and stuff like that.
mhm.
I had a lady come to me and she said, I got a box of pictures. I've done my family history. I need you to match these pictures. And I said, I don't know if I can do that. But I
Wow.
did. I did. I matched that whole box in 3 hours. My guides were beautiful. They connected with the great grandmother and she told me who belonged to who passed, who is married. And we matched all those pictures and she come up and finished them. But you need to do your family history because when I'm talking to you, you need to understand all that part of it, right?
And I'm not good with that because my family's broken apart, and you could say, "How's Uncle Vinny doing?" And I would say, "I don't know," and that could be somebody that came over through that I never
Yeah.
even met and never knew existed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could even have talked about my half sister, and I prior to a couple of weeks ago, I'd say, "I don't know what you're talking about," but yeah. So that's I think a lot of people sometimes when a psychic medium is reading them they go blank, like psychic amnesia. And then does that happen where somebody's, wait a minute, I'm not really sure. And then 2 days later, oh, yeah, now I get
Yeah.
it. And they call you
It
back.
does. Lots of times I'll get people say, I can't remember. And then they'll text me back and they go, I had time to think about this. I know who the R is and I knew who Richard is and I know what this stuff is.
Yeah.
But that's just because it's all, and it's a little different in a session because we're not talking, right? We're just doing the channeling. So it's a lot different that kind of a way. But yeah, it's a lot of information. So people don't always have time to process everything, of course, right? Until
Yeah.
they get thinking about it or re-listen to the tape kind of thing, right?
Oh, so you recorded for them as well.
They can record, do all the recordings. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Which I think is important because, things I wish I had an astrologer read me in 2007 and said some things, and I vaguely remember them. And there's a cassette tape laying around somewhere, and I wish I could find it. And I'm sure I will if I look hard. And it probably reveals something, that happened
Oh,
in the future.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. For
yeah.
sure. Yes.
We're just about out of time. Like I'm learning a lot here about this whole process. Fantastic. How do we find you?
You can find me at Love and Light Angel Readings, and my page. I have a website page which is myangelreadings.ca, or you can catch me at 204-647-7960. And I also have TikTok. I'm kind of new to TikTok, but I got some TikTok videos and stuff on there, and I just want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. Thank you so much. And
Oh,
I
thank
hope
you.
have a fantastic day.
Yeah, you too. Wonderful. And you have you're very grounded and have such positive energy and love what you do. And you explain things very clearly because a lot of us don't even know what, spirit guides are and all of that. So for that, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcasts on the go and don't miss a minute of the action. Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcasts on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.